to the muse, baby.
Welcome to the podcast, Lucy.
Thank you so much for having me, Chloe. I'm so excited to be here.
You're my muse today. I'm very excited because you're a psychological coach.
I am.
And I feel like I need this in my life.
Well, it's a way of getting a free session, isn't it? Just bring me on the podcast.
I've never had a therapy session before.
Haven't you?
Ever.
Okay, let's see how you find this.
Oh God, I'm scared. I'm so scared. So can you tell us your job title? What does it mean? What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm an accredited psychological coach. So my background's in psychology. So I'm not kind of your typical life coach that's out there. We know there's so many coaches out there now in the social media world. But the way I stand out is that I worked in the NHS. So I worked in specialist hospitals.
That's so nice.
I worked in the Royal Marsden to begin with, in a cancer hospital with children and adults. And then I moved to Guy's and St Thomas's and worked in neurosciences there. So
wow, you're clever.
my background was very much there in the NHS, in clinics, in hospitals, and I got to a point, it was a really big transitionary period in my life. I went through a big breakup. I moved back from London into my childhood bedroom back in Brighton. Yeah. And I think, and it's what I firmly believe in, so many breakthroughs come from breakdowns. Mm-hmm. And that was my breakdown. And in that moment, I was able to kind of reevaluate everything. And I thought, actually, not only is the NHS burning me out, and it literally did. I got signed off for 3 months with glandular fever. Wow. I also can't help people in the way that I want to. You come and see me. I had teenagers who were self-harming, and they couldn't see me again for 6 weeks. And I was like, this isn't sustainable. It's not making me feel good because I haven't got the freedom and agency to do what I want. Yeah. So I reevaluated everything. I loved what I was doing in terms of helping people and serving people, but I really wanted the focus to be on how can I help people to kind of better themselves and to really move forward. I'm very action orientated. So I got that whole sort of plan together and I handed in my notice literally 5 years to the day.
Wow. That's
and
so
I took the leap. Yeah, and started my own business.
Happy anniversary.
So we've had 5 years now of the Lucy Spicer practice.
That's so exciting. And what type of clients do you help at your practice?
Yeah, so it's kind of evolved over time. And I think my real niche now is I work with a lot of content creators. Hello. Some of who you probably already know and talk about me on their platforms. I work with professional women, and I work with anyone really who's got a desire to really truly become that best version of themselves. So they might present with different things, but there tends to be underlying themes in that they can't really solve the problems themselves. We've got so many podcasts like ours out there, self-help books, lots of resources. Therapy is basically insta therapy, but that's very different to actually coming to a session. And I think you can have such a great positive impact from doing all those things, but nothing will replicate it like being in a session with someone who can really help you to understand your mind.
Honestly, I do think these days everyone thinks they're a therapist, i.e. me. I'm the person that all my friends come to for advice, but then I'm like, but who's going to help me?
Right.
Because I'm the therapist for everyone else, but then I don't know who I would go to.
Right.
So technically, I probably need you in my life.
I do tend to attract those people, Chloe. If you're the fixer.
I'm the fixer.
You're a fixer.
I'm such a fixer.
Yeah. And then,
it's an issue.
Sometimes you need someone who's going to help you and you can have your own safe space as well.
I would actually love that. I'm like, I help. Yeah, everyone, my husband, my parents. Could everyone benefit from this, though? Do you think that everyone could benefit from therapy?
I think everyone can benefit from having someone who can really support them in a neutral space. So I'm not your boyfriend. Yeah. I'm not your best friend. I'm not a family member. Mm-hmm. I'm here and I've absolutely got your best interests at heart, but I'm able to kind of offer that neutrality and that knowledge that you might not have to really understand kind of why you're thinking in a certain way, what's keeping that going, where that might have come from, which you might kind of lack insight. And then I can provide you with the tools and strategies to help you move forwards. So I think it's really important. And, part of our practice, and I in the NHS always had supervision from a clinical psychologist. I go to sessions now. So it's not like once you're in this role, you then don't also gain support. I think it really is for everyone, depending on how you can access it.
And in your experience, what is sort of the most common thing that people come to you with? What do you see the most?
I feel like it goes in themes. And especially as I'm getting older, my clients are kind of getting older with me. So for example, now in the last kind of 6 months, maybe in a bit longer, I've started supporting women on their fertility journeys.
Yeah.
For example, there's so much that's not spoken about fertility.
That's
and
amazing.
Yeah, difficulties conceiving and kind of the psychological impact of that.
It's crazy. Being a woman is crazy. And I think you do realize that when you hit like your 30s, you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why isn't this spoken about more? So I can totally imagine why women would come to you.
Yeah, and I think, it's a really difficult time navigating that, but also as you kind of enter into parenthood and being able to prioritize yourself as well and look after yourself through that. But then I have like the absolute complete other end of the scale where I've got women coming to me in their 30s who feel like, they're absolutely panicked that they haven't got a partner, that they aren't engaged, that they haven't got the house, that they want children, but biology, they feel is like fighting against them. So it's really hard for me to go, this is the one thing, because then I'll have another client.
How do you even navigate that?
Because you just become kind of an expert in so many different areas. And it's if we think on us in the NHS and how many patients I saw, we called them patients, they're in the hospital, service users. I had like 100 people on my caseload, and you'd walk into the waiting room and you wouldn't really have prior information. You'd have to, in that spot, kind of make a relationship with them and then be able to help them. So it's difficult to kind of like summarize, but it's really women, I would say, if I had to like really niche it out, it's women in their late 20s, early 30s who are maybe struggling with like comparisonitis, navigating something very specific, like going through fertility, lots of anxiety. I see there can be lots of low mood as well, and difficulties to like motivate themselves. So it tends to be a whole range. But what's amazing, clearly, the way that I'm marketing myself is every single client that I get on a discovery call. So you have a discovery call with me before you start working with me. I'm like, I can help you, my perfect client.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That means you're attracting the right people.
100%.
The energy you give out, you're getting back from the right people.
100%. I'm so lucky that I adore every single client that I've ever worked with.
Oh, I love that. Do you think that social media is part of the problem with the anxiety that women are facing these days?
Absolutely. It's rife. Like, I can't imagine being a teenager. It's hard enough going to an all-girls school, thank you parents, navigating that and the toxicity of that, let alone being on social media. And a lot of us, and it's one of like the things that I really drill into my clients, is don't wake up and scroll. Because if we wake up and we're picking up our phone and we're scrolling, consciously, or more importantly probably subconsciously, we're hitting like wounds that we have. So for example, if I am really anxious about being 33 now and not engaged, and if I can conceive or not and have children, I could go on my phone this morning, scroll, and see posts about fertility, an engagement post, whatever it might be. And so I've started my day already targeting those wounds. So I think social media can be an amazing place, especially kind of for our businesses and for connection. But I think it really, really adds like fuel to the fire in terms of comparison and our self-esteem.
You're so right, because generally I'm a positive person, but I can sometimes go on, usually it's TikTok. I don't know why TikTok does it. I think it's because it's the never-ending scroll.
Yes.
It gives me the negative anxiety, it's too much. I can feel it coming over me sometimes after I've scrolled for too long, and I'm just like, I need to put this down. Like, what the hell? And I can feel that it's not me, and it's something else taking over me.
It almost, so I don't know if you experience this, Chloe, but I sometimes actually feel ill.
Yeah.
After because I'm human too. Of course I fall into traps of scrolling. Of course. And you can actually feel quite unwell from it, because you have literally taken on, and it's designed that way, right? They're designed to be addictive. You've taken on so much information and so many different energies and so many potentially triggering topics that it can really, really harm you in the long term.
It's actually terrifying for the children like growing up on it. Like my niece is 10 and she's always on TikTok, and I'm just like, I can't. She's also going to an all-girls school.
Get her out. No, I'm joking.
She'll be fine. What is one thing that we could all do every day that will help that anxiety? Like a small thing that you recommend?
To help anxiety. So anxiety in terms of that like comparison that we're talking about. Okay. So I think the number one tool is, and everything that I suggest, like I practice what I preach. I'm so authentic to this whole ethos of being the best version of yourself. And I think it is literally, before you go to bed, write down one good thing that happened that day.
Oh, that's cute.
It sounds so simple, But we're so caught up in living it through other people's worlds, focusing on what we don't have, getting to the end of our day and thinking about all the things that we didn't achieve that day, and then feeling worried about the next day and all we've got to do. We rarely take that moment to just sit with ourselves and think, actually, what was good?
Yeah.
And what am I grateful for in my life? And that's immediately pulls us away from other people's lives, for comparing to others, and grounds ourselves in actually thinking about our lives and what's made us happy that day.
I love that. I need to start doing that.
Honestly, Chloe, if you can commit to that. I do it with my clients. When they first start working with me, they work on an app, which is a bit like, it's called Voxer. It's like WhatsApp. And their first action point is every day to send me a win from that day.
I love that.
And a lot of them will go, that's really hard. Like, I'm really struggling. I'm like, great. Search harder.
Yeah.
Like, find that one thing. You do that over time, you're going to start to rewire your brain to look for the good over the bad.
Because, I mean, I've realized that gratitude is everything, isn't it?
That's
The more
huge.
grateful you are for your life, the more you could appreciate the current moment and not ruminate on everything else.
100%, Chloe. And if you know, I know we're going to potentially talk about manifestation, things like that, but the more that you focus on what you're grateful for, the more you're going to attract into your life to be grateful for, because you're
100%.
sitting in that energy and on that vibration.
And I know you love journaling.
Yes.
So you're writing that down. Should we
Yes.
also be journaling?
Yeah, well, that is one way to journal, isn't it? That's one like quick and efficient way
true.
to start that practice of journaling. Is you could literally go out today, you know, I do everything aesthetic here, just like Chloe.
Yay.
Go get yourself a bougie little journal from somewhere.
Yes.
And start writing down every day, just one little win. But I think
And
journaling's
so
a great
nice to
tool.
look back on as well.
Huge.
We don't write anymore. Sometimes I'll write a card and I'm like, how do I write?
Yeah,
My
because
handwriting is
typey
awful now.
the whole time.
Yeah.
So I keep all my old journals.
Oh.
And especially in terms of like launching my own business. So I've got those journals that I often go back to. I don't know if this kind of resonates with you, but I'm so what's next in my business. You know, I tick a thing, I do a live event, tick, right, what's the next thing? You know, do the podcast today,
And
amazing.
it can always feel like it's never ending.
It's never
It will
ending.
never end.
It's never ending. And the things that you are kind of just are the norm now, it kind of plateau. And actually those are the things that were like huge goals and aspirations of yours before. So what's been great about the way that I've journaled is I can go back to that journal from 5 years ago and I write down the things as if they are already in my life. So I was writing down things like, I have a wait list of clients, I have X amount in my bank account, I've had this opportunity, I've done this, I'm able to put this. None of it was true at that time. But I wrote it all out, and it's such a humbling experience to actually read back at that and go, wow, I'm doing all of that and so much more. And that's just one way of journaling.
Yeah, I need to start doing that, because when I was younger, I used to love writing things. I used to love art.
Oh, did
and
you?
just like
Yeah.
having notebooks and all of that. So I feel like I need to bring that back into my life.
Bring it back. I mean, you can do lots of prompts. So the easiest way to get into journaling is through prompts. So I have loads of prompts on my website. I share them on my Instagram page
Okay,
as well. So, and they're very specific. So if you're suffering with like anxiety, or you're wanting to manifest, or you're wanting to think about what next relationship is that you want to attract, or is it around friendships, like literally cover it all. So that can be a really helpful way of doing it, rather than actually having to think those prompts up yourself. Or you can just freestyle in terms of whatever's coming up for yourself in that moment. And my clients say they can almost like get into a trance when they're journaling that way, because you just like go into this other world. Or do your one win a day, or write down those things that you're trying to manifest. Those are 5 quick ways to start journaling.
It's whatever works for you.
100%, and that's the best thing about it.
I love that. And do you believe in manifesting? Because you mentioned manifesting,
Yes.
so I assume you did.
I do believe in manifesting. I'm kind of like, do I believe in, I think, okay, let me try and summarize this. I believe in manifesting in that I believe it's really important to have a vision for yourself.
Yeah.
And that creates direction, and it gives you clarity, and you know what you're working towards. Therefore, you are like more motivated to take those steps. Do I believe in, I'm going to think of my perfect partner and my perfect house,
And it'll just
and that's
pop up.
enough? I don't.
Same.
I don't agree with that. But I think what I'm learning, and especially when I thought about more like how I've manifested, I think it's also that power of visualization. And being able to really visualize actually what is it that I want to manifest. And when you're holding that visualization in your mind, tap into that feeling. that it brings up, because that is like such an amazing experience to kind of sit in that practice. And that again is going to get you feeling really good. It's going to get you on a great vibration. If we think about manifestation, it's the law of attraction, it's energy, you know, we're in a good energy, we're in a good vibe, and therefore we're more likely to take action, and also we're kind of opening ourselves up to those opportunities.
Yeah, I always think as well, it's like when I was younger, I look back and I think I manifested that without even knowing.
Right.
And it's because I was just believing.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, that's what that was. Because I always just knew. I just knew I was going to be okay and do something creative, and I didn't know what, but I was like, no, I'm going to make it work because I believe in myself. And I feel like that is what manifestation is. If you believe in yourself, you're more likely to then make the steps to make it happen.
Absolutely. So the first way that we get in our own way with manifestation is exactly that. It's our self-limiting beliefs and our self-doubt. So all the reasons why it's not going to work, number one, going to absolutely block those manifestations from happening. If you're kind of, we call it like a scarcity mindset, right? If you're sitting in that lack energy, if you're sitting in that scarcity mindset. But it also comes down to your relationship with yourself. Do you back yourself enough?
You have to. And you have to back yourself. Or
and can you hold that space?
Yeah.
No way. So I think they're both really important components. Get very clear on what's holding you back. Is it money? Is it actually fear of success? Is it fear of being seen? Is it fear of rejection? What is it for you?
Yeah.
And then do the work to kind of build up your self-esteem.
A lot of the time, the only difference between you and someone that's doing the thing you want to do is that they dared to do it and they believed in themselves. Right. That's all it is.
Right.
You just got to do it, knock on the doors and go for it.
100%. Did I have every reason to kind of freak myself out when I left the NHS and had one client?
Totally.
100%. You know, yes, I had the security of my living in my parents' house, which I'm like so grateful for. But also, I was in my childhood bedroom at 26 and single. So how do you want to spin it?
Yeah.
You know? But there's no plan B. There's still no plan B.
You could have sat and cried about it and then been negative and be like, oh, I'm never going to do this.
Yeah, no one's going to work with me.
And if you're in that negative space, then you're not attracting anything. You're not leaving the house.
100%.
But you have to, even if you feel you have to just find a way. And speaking to someone like you is an amazing way to lift yourself out of those moments.
Yeah. Well, I'm like there to really, because sometimes, you know, I say it like it's easy things, you know, find out what those blockages are, build up your self-esteem. That takes a lot of work. I do it with my clients all the way and all the time, and often it's things they don't even realize that's blocking them, because I can see those blind spots.
It's
that
like
they won't
childhood,
be able to see.
right? And like the parents.
So much
most
can come up.
That, isn't it?
How did you speak about money in your childhood? If money is a blocker, did you believe that it comes in and then quickly goes out? Like, there's so many different things. When you were kind of doing show and tell, do people say that you're a show off? Well, that's going to get in the way of you doing anything in front of the camera on social media. So it's really important to kind of piece all those things together so that you can,
especially as a woman, like that's something I've noticed. I think as well, because I was in this industry quite young, I quickly noticed how people saw me differently in different ways, or people would treat me differently, or even just as a female, or they'd laugh about the job that I'm doing, see it as frivolous, for example.
Right.
And I feel like that's a very, I don't know, a female thing that we have to deal with.
Did you then work through that? Like, did you recognize that and have to then work through that and like validate those experiences for yourself?
In what way would I be doing that?
Welcome to the couch.
Oh gosh. What do you mean?
I mean, so you realise that you're being treated differently, and that it was maybe people thought it was quite like frivolous. So you had that awareness, right?
I knew it was their problem, not mine.
So that's how you then dealt with it, right? So you validated it for yourself, and that you realised actually that's a you thing, and I'm going to own my thing. Amazing.
100%. Oh yeah, my mum would always be like, no, that's them being jealous, or that's them being insecure. And I feel like I had to learn that quite early, and now I'm really aware of the way people act, and if anyone says anything mean to me, I'm like, oh, so them problem, not a me problem.
That's great.
Or like the trolls and stuff like that, I'm like, not my problem.
Yeah, because that could be such
therapy,
a hard space.
I actually replied to a troll yesterday because I had a DM, like a TikTok I did went viral to the wrong people.
Okay.
Not to the girlies, to like the negative men, etc. And I had some message that was just like horrendous, obviously, and I just replied being like, just so you're aware, like, you should probably seek help because this is very negative.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry you feel the way you feel, but like, you ain't affecting me, bro.
It's so hard though, I think, in your industry, and having worked with people in your industry, you have to be so resilient. You know, it's cutthroat. I know, like, those platforms that are out there, which I'm not even going to name, you know, are savage, and actually having to be able to pick yourself up every day and put yourself in that public space and be so vulnerable is such a skill for you to kind of keep going and to be able to kind of drown out that noise.
And even like your personal life, like knowing what people are thinking, that people are seeing you on their phones that you know, and then you see them in real life and thinking, oh God, they've seen that about, even that's like a whole thing.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's
that's
like a
huge.
juggle.
Yeah.
It's a weird life. So you also believe in breath work. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I think I've done a qualification in breathwork. I think we're going to see more and more and more about breathwork. It's an incredible tool to help you to regulate your nervous system. So in like very basic psych education way, we have like two nervous systems. So we have our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay.
Our parasympathetic nervous system is like our zen, our rest and digest. Like we love that guy. We love the parasympathetic guy. Yeah. Our sympathetic guy is like our fight or flight response.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we're kind of feeling a bit clammy, our heart is racing, our thoughts are racing, we might have butterflies in our tummy. That's when we know we're kind of maybe feeling like stressed and anxious. Breath work and breathing is one of the quickest ways to signal to the brain, actually, I'm safe. You know, actually, it's okay for me to move back into my parasympathetic nervous system and not stay in this threat response, which we see, you know, is responsible for a lot of the stress and anxiety that we experience today, and that also our everyday life creates. We have notifications pinging off. We are rushing from A to B. We have so many demands on us. Like, we are not geared up to live in this modern world.
No.
We should have been like, you know, our fight or flight response comes from when we were cavemen and we were hunting our food, and we genuinely needed that to protect us. We, you know, were we going to get killed or were we going to run away? And we haven't like updated. So we're still getting that same response when the guy that we've dated hasn't then texted back, he's ghosted us. We get that same response as we did when we were cavemen. We got an email from our boss, like randomly scheduling a meeting. Same response. So being able, and what I love about breathwork, it's free and it's easy to do and no one knows that you're doing it. To be able to use those practices to calm yourself and learn how to get into that lovely Zen space, I think is invaluable.
It's so nice. It also helps you get to sleep. Like if my
great.
brain's going, sometimes I'm like, okay, we're going to breathe.
Yeah.
And then you're asleep.
So there's so much out there. There's so much you can do with it. Like, I've got incredible people in my network who...
There's playlists and stuff.
Playlists, you can do it to music, you can do it to heal trauma, you can do all those things. You know, I do it at a very kind of more basic level with my clients. But I think, as I said, you know, this is going to take off.
Love that. Okay, I saw on your website that you'd said what human design thing you were. Now, I've not done an episode on this yet. I really want to do an episode on human design.
I know what girl to get for human design.
I feel like it's probably the one that I've already written
out.
Is it? Yeah, I'm obsessed. I actually had a session, I think, in lockdown with a girl, and she told me what I was and read my human design chart, and I'm obsessed with it. If you guys have never heard of it, look into it, but I will do an episode on it.
Yeah.
Which one are you again?
I'm a projector.
Me too.
Nice, welcome.
Welcome. So, I mean, the people listening are probably like, what does that mean? But it's kind of like astrology, but it's science-based, right?
The way that I've kind of taken it or used it, and I'd like to do kind of more research into this, is the way that I work. So coming from a space that was very institutionalized, like doing my degree, doing my master's in psychology, going into hospitals, working 9 to 5, I was then like, whoa, when I started running my own business and questioning, how do I work effectively? And so that's where it's really helped me in understanding, for example, that I work snack. I don't know if this resonates with you, but the 9 to 5 life I knew didn't serve me. I remember sitting at my desk at 2 o'clock thinking, why? Oh my God, 2 till 5 is my worst time ever. I won't schedule in clients for that time.
Horrendous. It's like after that, I'm like, oh, I'm alive.
Love it. First thing in the morning. Oh my God, so good. So we have to work snack. And the other thing that I really, work snack, just a little, rather than like sitting down your desk all day.
Same, could not.
And okay, love this for us. You ready for this one? We are like super efficient. So we will get done in an hour what it will take most people like 5 or 6 hours to do.
Okay, that makes me feel better, because that's definitely true. I definitely do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I almost need the panic of needing to get it done, and then I'm like, done.
Yeah, so I do like power hours. So this morning, for example, I'm now in my like golf club wag era, because my boyfriend's taken up golf. So I went out the golf club, worked from there, wrote a to-do list within an hour. I was like, bam, 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 but then I need to rest. And then I can do it again. So I think it's a really helpful way, especially in business, when you have that agency and that flexibility to learn how do you best work.
I don't know anyone that hasn't done human design and completely resonated with the one that they were given. So you get given different ones. Don't you? There's like generator,
manifesting generator,
projector. I don't know.
Manifester. I think the other one.
Manifester. Yeah. It all makes sense with what you are, and we are definitely projectors, because projectors want to teach people, help people.
We see the best, obviously, in my job, like we see the best in people, we bring out their potential, and we respond really well when people recognize our success. But we know when we're out of alignment if we feel really bitter, because it means we're like chasing too much. So like me chasing opportunities and stuff,
same, I hate it.
Like you messaging me and being like, oh my God, I so love you. I was like, oh my God, I feel so aligned.
We're the same.
I feel so validated.
Do you believe in astrology as well?
Do you know
astrology
what?
girly?
I am very like multifaceted in terms of like my personality and my interests, and also very integrative in terms of the work I do. So I enjoy spirituality. For example, like we had the Lionsgate portal on the 8th of August, got my friend round, we're manifesting. I wrote journal prompts for my followers. So love that. And I will, if you're into that, we might bring that a bit into our work. If you're not into that, that's fine, because I've got so many other tools and science-backed practices to kind of help you with. So I like
a lot about it.
I play with it. I call it my witchy side.
I love that.
So I'm very into star signs. I'm very into human design. I'm very much into my crystals.
Can you guess which one I am?
I don't know. I feel like you're similar to me. Okay. Oh God, I'm going to be so off. I'm so into star signs. Get it wrong. Are you Cancer or Leo?
No.
What are you?
Libra.
Oh, so you're all about Libra's balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a balance girly. That's fantastic.
Well, I don't like. I like fairness. It's more like the balance of fairness. I don't like injustice. But I also love aesthetics and fashion and beauty and fairness. And like I hate when anyone argues. I want everyone to be happy. And
because that's why you're the fixer, right? You're keeping the peace.
Yeah, I'm not Libra.
My
husband's a Leo though.
Oh, I like a Leo. They're fiery.
Yeah,
he's super confident.
Yeah, that is him. Obsessed with his hair. Lion's mane.
Makes sense.
And Leo and Libra are perfect for each other, because Libras like help the Leo, like bring them back up.
And then do Leos bring out the Libras with like their confidence,
more confidence? Yeah.
Look at you guys.
I mean, I am confident, but I'm like level, whereas he's more on the
out there
extrovert side. Nice. And do you believe in crystals? Now we're on the witchy conversation. I love all this, because when you came, you had a crystal bracelet.
I did.
And then we started talking about ghosts.
Yeah.
And you took it off.
Yeah.
So can you explain that to me, please?
Do you know what? I love that you made that link. And that's actually really interesting, right? Because so much around that we do in life, and you know what creates conflict and anxiety, is that we create stories, and we've seen something and we make a story out of it, right? So that person didn't look at me or wave back to me across the road because they were pissed off with me when actually they didn't see me. Similar with me taking off that bracelet, you thought it was because of the ghost.
Wait, was it not?
It was because it didn't go with my outfit.
Wait, what? You were telling me a story about ghosts, and you went, wait, let me take this off.
Because my mind, I probably have 5 different thoughts firing at one, and I was like, that's turquoise, that needs to come off.
I was like, oh, she thinks about that's so funny.
Do I like, yes, I like crystals because I think you can pair an intention with them. So for example, with that crystal is against negative energy, or on my desk I have like tourmaline, which is black. So if I'm talking about like difficult things, and you know I'm very good at my job because I'm an empath, but that means I'm also vulnerable to absorbing people's energy, so that protects me. I have citrine for like manifestation and money. I have rose quartz around like healing and love. So I'm not as into it as you could be, but I like that it kind of serves as a reminder, or there's an intention, or meditating with them, or whatever it might be. And for my clients, you know, it can be a real comfort if they're walking around and they feel triggered and they need to remember our strategies, for example. They might hold their little crystal as a reminder that they're safe.
Yeah, that's what I feel is so nice. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anything we can put meaning on and can be positive.
Yeah. So what if it means
it?
If it works, it doesn't matter. Is it helping you? Yes, fabulous,
lovely.
Yeah.
And how do you not absorb negative energy from clients? Because that must be difficult. Because if you're talking about negative things all day.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? You're talking about negative things in terms of like challenges and difficulties, but actually it's really positive in terms of me that being there, helping them to understand what's going on and how to move forwards and how to move past this. And this is what kind of clients say to me, is that I'm very different to maybe more like traditional counselling or therapy. We don't go kind of round in circles. It is exploratory where it needs to be, but I'm very like action focused. How can we move forwards? How can we better you? So there is very much a positive element, but I still need to be kind of careful with my energy. And especially when I worked in the cancer hospital, for example, I threw myself into that space, and I was taught very quickly.
Been really difficult.
It was hard. I was a bumbling early 20-year-old delivering therapy and assessments to children and then their parents and then adults. And so I had supervision then with the most incredible consultant clinical psychologist, and she helps you then to deal with that and how to make those separations. And I think one of the analogies that she shared with me, which really stuck with me, she was like, imagine that client is like on a train and they're kind of going to their destination, and you're at a station and you're going to hop onto that train for a bit of that journey, and then you're going to hop off. So that's how I see my role with my clients, is kind of, I'm hopping on. I'm not like going to be there for the whole journey. I'm hopping on to help, and then I can hop off as well.
So then you don't get too emotionally involved or attached.
And you just learn those strategies. And obviously I work from home, so I try and keep my office like as my office. You love the witch, I'm going to give you the witch. I do Himalayan salt washes in the shower after to wash off people's energy in a loving way, but just like come back to myself. I have very clear boundaries in terms of when I go on my app to check in with clients. When I don't, I'm quite protective over my weekend. So it's boundaries. It's very, very much boundaries that it comes down to.
And you have a podcast.
I do, The Journal with Lucy Spicer.
Tell me about your podcast.
So The Journal with Lucy Spicer, it's all about people's stories. And a lot of the guests, very similar to yours, you'll know, they tend to be kind of very influential. I've gotten a lot of entrepreneurs, but what I'm really interested in is like going kind of behind what we see on the surface and really uncovering their stories. So everyone that's come on has turned, as I said earlier, like a breakdown into a breakthrough.
I love those stories.
They're the best stories, and it's what got me through. So I was telling you about that dark time, and when everything was kind of stripped away, and when I changed my business and I was back in my childhood home, and I was commuting to London every single day, 4 hours a day. And what really got me through was listening to podcasts. They were only just coming out then. And they were people talking, especially like I was obviously gravitated to female entrepreneurs, not really knowing at the time, but they would talk about like a really bad heartbreak or losing a job or something, and what they built then. And that just gave me so much like hope. And I think that is the word, hope. I hope that my podcast gives listeners hope that they too can turn their own life around. They too can turn like a time of darkness into an opportunity for growth, that we can kind of get out of these spaces, and through people's stories. And at the end of every episode, I write bespoke journal prompts depending on that person's story, so that you can kind of resonate with that and reflect on that and tailorize it to your own life so you can move forwards. So that's what I want to pull out. And there's a different theme with every single guest I bring on.
Obsessed. And what can you teach me about podcasting? Because you've been doing it a lot longer than me, and I'm new here. I'm very new.
I mean, I feel like you're smashing it, Chloe.
Yeah, but I don't feel like it. But I think that's just like what we've been talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And it's doing something new. And I think we can so get in our own way of doing something new. And like I said, with that plateauing, right? The more that you're going to do this, you'll desensitize, and you'll just turn up like so chill and just like smash this out the park.
I'm already way more chill.
She's already
than the first day.
There you go. I think why I've kind of naturally fall into it and it's been really lovely having guests like really compliment me on the way that I do it and the way that I ask questions and hold that space. It's very similar to a session for me. So I would always say, just be a curious cat. Be super curious. Let go of perfection. You can't really get it wrong if you've got a producer and an editor, if you stutter. But be curious about that person in front of you and really like think, well, what's my intention? What do I want to get out of this? And also think of that listener. So mine is like my girl on the tube. She's my girl on the tube going to the city, and she really needs to hear this story. And I channel her when I'm doing that episode and what she might need to hear.
I love that. Yeah, I always think of essentially my audience already, because I wanted to create a space that meant something, because when I've been in like the fashion and beauty industry for so long, it can almost feel a little bit shallow.
Okay.
Obviously I love it, but it can just feel a little bit shallow, especially when someone like me, I love learning new things. I love getting my teeth into new things and talking to people. So I was like, what can I do that actually means something? And that person listening or that already follows me can get a bit of reality and not compare themselves to people like me or the people that I get on, and just gives them inspiration essentially.
Well, you're 100% doing that. We love that.
So you also do live events.
I do.
Which I love.
Yes.
What made you want to do that?
What made me want to do that? I think I was seeing a lot in the work that I was doing with my clients is they'd come to me in quite like an unhealed space. We'd do the work. They'd really heal and really understand themselves better, or really kind of like just accept themselves for who they were. And they'd get to this space and they'd be like, right, well, I've done all this work, but like, I don't click with my friends anymore. Like, they don't understand me, and they're not willing to work on themselves, and they're not interested in self-development.
This is such a thing.
Is it? Is this resonating with you as well?
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of the time I'll be sat with like a group of friends or whatever, and something will happen, and I'll want to talk about like the psychology of things, or like, oh, he's like that because, you know, he's insecure, or like, and they're just like, what? And I'm like, oh, you're not as, you know, into it as me, and don't dissect the details of every single thing. But I just love psychology.
I think we need to hang out more.
Right? Love it. I'm obsessed. Or like, I love talking about like feminism. And people will be like, what? That's not a thing. And I'm like,
witchcraft and the patriarchy. I mean, I can go down a whole other rabbit hole. But
patriarchy. And honestly, some of them, they're like, oh, Chloe's like a feminist. And I'm like, no, I'm just normal. I'm just aware of the world we live in.
Yeah.
They act like I burn my bra. Like, I'm just like a normal gal that's aware, and everyone should be more aware, because it's the world we're in.
Yes, we 100% should. So just like you, right, they were having those experiences. So I thought, well, you know, my clients are wonderful. My following is amazing. This community that I'm building, I'm loving. So let's bring them together. So the first 2 events I did were very like intimate. We did one in central London. We had brunch together. And I kind of...
Was that crazy though? Were you like, oh my God, this is crazy?
I'll tell you why, because we spoke about manifesting. It was crazy because the last time I was in that very space, it was a private dining room, was 5 years before. I remember I was saying like I was burning out, and I was trying to kind of lead 2 different lives. I had a following on Instagram through like fitness and stuff in my 20s, and so I'd get invited to PR events. So I was in that very space like 5 years ago at a pancake making
the random things you do.
The random things you do. Then having to rush across the bridge to make it in time for my clinic starting at 9 o'clock in the morning in Westminster, and just thinking, you know, I wish I had the flexibility and the life where I could just like stay here and do what I enjoy. So it's like a full circle moment. It was like my first event in that space when I'd been like in the NHS, trying to straddle 2 lives, rushing off, burning out, to then hosting my own event. So I've done that. We floated down the Thames on a boat. So I did like a really intimate dinner all about romanticizing your life. So it's not just about people coming together and talking, because that can feel really uncomfortable. So I do like activities. That sounds so lame. I do activities that helps you. So you come and you might learn about your inner critic, for example, or we might talk about like, you might journal what you want to manifest. I'll put them into meditation. We can do all different things, but it's not like group therapy icky vibes. It's like, oh my gosh, I love this, and I'm surrounded by like-minded women.
And how amazing that you get to pull all those women together, and then they can meet and become friends.
The best. And the most recent one I did in July, and I'm planning my next one, was in Harley Street, and that was like bringing the podcast to life. So that was like a larger scale. And what was so special about that one is that it wasn't just like my community who were amazing, my panelists who were amazing. I also, for the first time, had my mum, brother, and Tom come. Tom's my boyfriend, and actually see my work like brought to life. So that was just, I
loved that.
It was insane. It was an incredible event, and I'm already planning my next one for September. So I think for me, community and in real life events is like a real passion project of mine, and that I'm going to really continue to develop.
And I guess it's as well amazing for people that maybe you don't want to take this first step into doing a one-on-one, and they can come and taste it and see what it's like. And I just think anyone that takes that step, how amazing. Like,
how amazing. And to come on your own as well. Yeah, you're coming, you want to better yourself, and most of the guests that come alone, which is incredible. And as you said, it's a really nice flavor to then, you know, doing that one to work with me, the real deal.
These tools can only help you in every aspect of your life. Like
100%.
This is so important. It's more important than what you're going to wear or all of that stuff. It's what is going on inside your brain is going to help you with jobs, social situations. I just think it's so important, and everyone should do it.
Everyone should do it. I'm very blessed. My testimonials, I've had so many people just say like, that is the best investment I've ever made
truly
in my life, because my job role really is to make myself redundant. I want you to now have the tools and strategies to get through the rest of your life. And that's what I see.
That's so cute. So what would be like your top 3 things that you think that I should add into my life? Because I want a free therapy class today. Thank you. Not that you know me that well yet. Hit me with them.
Okay. Yeah,
because I'll do it.
I'm going so blind to it. Okay, let's start basic, because I love that, right? We start basic, we start foundations, and we can build on that. So I want you to get a journal.
Yeah. I've got journals. I've got so many that are empty as well.
Right. Have you got one that you're particularly drawn to, that you think's particularly gorgeous? Yeah? Okay, get that.
Like a beige.
Perfect. Right, you're going to start tonight.
Oh.
Yeah, she is.
Scared.
And you're going to start with your simple write down one win a day. Okay, so at the end of every day, I want you to keep it out on your bedside table so we don't forget about it. So as a reminder, write down one good thing that happened that day. Okay, numero uno. Number 2, no scrolly scroll.
That's a bad thing, isn't it?
That's a bad thing, especially because it's your work.
Yeah.
So if you really can
it's hard to turn off, isn't it?
Yeah. What is your boundaries like with your phone?
Not great, but in my head I'm like, I'm fine. But it's not fine, because I feel myself procrastinate, and I'll go on TikTok, and I know I'm doing it on purpose. I don't want to go on TikTok, but I'm scrolling, and I know that I should be doing something else.
Okay, and what about in the morning and the evening?
Yeah. Last night I edited my podcast. I did a podcast intro reel. I finished it at midnight and posted it at 7 a.m.
Okay,
But I kind of had to, because I did post it at 7 a.m. I just hadn't done it earlier.
Okay, so maybe boundaries, Chloe.
Yeah.
And having a look at your kind of morning routines and your evening routine. So we've got one thing now in your evening routine, which is writing down your wins. We could play around with your morning routine.
Yeah.
So try, if you can, to not go on your phone until you got ready for the day.
Okay, love that.
So if you, I don't know what your morning routine is, but if you get up, have a coffee, have a shower, really try, and it's so hard because it's so tempting, really try and push that first check on your phone until as late as possible.
I can do that.
Brilliant, especially because it's your work, right? Because it's not normal to start work at 7 a.m.
I don't want to go on my phone.
No. So
horrible.
let's put that away. The other thing that I love is meditation. And so starting super simple, again, you can do 10-minute meditation and just start to bring that into your life.
I feel like at events they've kind of taught it to me, and I've maybe tried to do it once, but I've never done it.
Let's try it.
Okay.
Especially with this fast pace, working till midnight.
Yes.
We need a moment
Turn
of
your brain
being.
off.
Yeah. I'll send you my meditation package.
Yeah. How do we meditate? Meditate for beginners. What do we do?
I would advise always listening to a guided meditation.
Yeah.
I think it's a whole another kettle of fish. Which you can do is being
Great
able
plan.
to sit there and actually be able to quieten down your thoughts. So if you can listen to a guided meditation, I'd start really short. Let's not go in half an hour. Let's go in 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay. We can do that.
You can do that. 100%.
Fine.
Does it need to be every day? No. Can we start getting it in a couple of times a week? Lovely.
Lovely.
When you're feeling a bit frantic, feeling on edge, feeling in that sympathetic nervous system, like I said, let's see if you can get on a meditation. So for you, I'll send you my meditations.
So exciting.
Yeah. And you can give that a go and see how you get on. I feel like they're quite witchy as well. You're going to love it. It's a golden bubble for protection. There's a manifestation one. There's
I love it.
Thoughts as leaves, thoughts as clouds for anxiety. Yeah. Let's see how you get on. There you go. So
Obsessed.
no phone in the morning until you get ready. A win a day. And let's get some meditation in your life.
And what do you think that's going to do for me?
I think it will help you calm down your thoughts. I think it will help you be able to, so when we think of meditation, it's about creating distance, right? It's we're training our mind to not latch on to every thought that we have, especially if they're anxious based thoughts. So learning how to be still, learning how to distance yourself from your thoughts, being more present in your life, less comparisonitis, not going on our phone in the morning.
Yeah.
Ending the day, thinking of the win, feeling more gratitude, feeling more grounded, feeling more present, lovely, and going to sleep in a really content way. What a lovely way to fall asleep, thinking about the good from the day.
Ask you. So my husband struggled with all of these things times 1,000 at one point. So that during lockdown, it all came crashing down for him, and he had a breakdown essentially. And as the partner, I was like, what do I do? And it was really difficult. Now he's fine. He still has the odd comparison, same as anyone else really, but at the time it was horrendous, so bad. And for me it was really difficult, and I feel like sometimes the partner isn't spoken about as much. Because especially it was lockdown, I was literally locked in the house with this man who was just locking himself in a room, was hating me because his brain was so tunnel vision on hating himself. He hated everything around him. He compared himself to me. He was jealous of me. It was bizarre. It was one person walked out and another person walked in. It was crazy. What advice would you give to the partners of people?
Go get support for yourself. The fact of even just having, as I said when we started this this episode together, just having someone that you can turn to is of massive value. And a lot of my clients would be in a similar position to you, where, you know, there are difficulties in the relationship, or their other half is really struggling, and I'm there to help them to look after themselves, because that's going to impact so significantly on you. Number one, you love them and you care, but also that's so much energy for you to be around.
It's crazy energy. And I think one of the main things that I learned from it was that it's not always my job to fix someone.
100%. But how hard for you?
So hard. And that it's his job to fix himself. And the only way he's going to get out of victim mentality is by fixing himself and stop leaning on me. So as soon as I started doing that, he did actually get better. He actually went to the Hoffman Institute.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard of that?
No.
Google it after. He went for like 4 days. It's like a therapy, and they teach you meditation. They teach you look into your childhood.
A very intensive. Okay.
So, yeah, it's an intensive course, because he wouldn't put down his phone, and he wouldn't. He did therapy sessions, but he couldn't. He was just too far gone. He needed a full 4 day situation. It was crazy. Yeah,
I think, especially if there's like Chloe's out there listening, and you're the fixers, like, if you are resonating with that, really think, okay, well, who's fixing me? Who's there to help me?
Absolutely.
And make sure you're getting that space for yourself.
We're important too.
You're so important.
And where can we find you?
Everywhere. So you can find me on Instagram at LucySpicer_. You can find my podcast on wherever you listen to your podcast, The Journal with Lucy Spicer. You can find me on my website, LucySpicer.com, for ways to work with me, for your journal prompts, for meditations, through everything that you need. And if you're my corporates or my brands, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Love that. Love a bit of LinkedIn. I recently got
LinkedIn.
I found my videographer
LinkedIn
here today on LinkedIn.
I was so anti-LinkedIn. I am a LinkedIn girly.
It's so good.
It's so good because you find those people directly. Oh no, neither is mine.
So I'm like, no one needs to find me.
And I unfollowed so many people because I was like, why have I got all these VAs and like people trying to follow me? So I like whittled it right down. And my brother's got like so many thousands of people, and he's actually an influencer marketing agency. He owns it, yeah. And he said, what have you done, Luce? Why have you got rid of all those numbers? I was like, I just want to be clean and fresh.
So good for finding people though.
It's brilliant. I think, I'm really opening up that space. It's just a lot to juggle, right? You're on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn,
it's too much.
Newsletters, and then I'm doing my sessions as well. It's like a lot.
It's a lot. Wait, what do you do to help yourself in these moments? Because you're the therapist. What are you doing? Sorry, I should probably wrap this podcast up, but I just want to talk to you the whole time.
That's fine, I'm here. Awareness. So I'm aware when I'm pushing. My body's really speaks to me. So I got an ulcer in my mouth now. Like my body speaks to me so loudly, particularly.
Mine does that too.
Does it?
Yeah.
I get a lovely little rash here. I get ulcers, like spots, like I just know. And that's when I've gone like too far. We need a day off. And also I think we have to remember, especially in our industry, like good energy is still energy. So like, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so, I was really excited driving here. That's still a lot of energy.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of adrenaline. So that can still kind of work towards burnout and stress as well. So I have the awareness. I know when I need to calm down. I have my boundaries with my phone. I think that's one of the biggest things that I do is I put my phone away at like 7:00 every night, and I just have my time with Tom or with myself and do the things that I enjoy. I'm meditating, I'm journaling, I'm running, I'm doing Pilates. I'm literally doing everything that I'm advising you to do.
All the fun stuff.
Or is it sexy? No. Is it as sexy as me going, go and scroll on TikTok for an hour? No, but it's going to help you so much better.
Oh, it's so much better. Like real life is what it's all about, really. Like I know this is online and my job's online, but there's nothing that beats being real life. Like I would give social media up in a minute if it meant, getting rid of my real life things.
Yeah.
So final question.
Okay.
That I ask everybody, because you're my muse today.
Oh, that's so nice.
So who is your muse and why?
Okay, and I was thinking about this. It's going to probably sound really narcissistic, but...
No, we love that.
Okay, cool. My muse is like my higher self. It's my future self.
Amazing.
So she has always been my driving force. Like, literally, I can even remember from school thinking like who I wanted to be. And then in my early 20s, when I didn't realize, that I wanted to go into my own business, but I remember like visualizing exactly what she was wearing, exactly how she felt about herself. And it always evolves. It's evolving all the time. I've got such a clear vision of her now. So I think that has to be my muse, is that version of myself that I'm working towards.
I love that. I feel like that's mine too,
There you go.
I love it.
Scrap Lucy Spicer. No, I'm joking. Have your higher self.
It's so true though. Because that's what keeps you going.
It's what keeps you going, and it's what inspires you. Yeah.
All we have is ourselves.
100%.
To look after.
Seek inspiration from others, absolutely, but own yourself and work towards becoming the best version of yourself.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much, Chloe.
Yay!
Thank you.